Welcome back to Boltage Bros. Today I'm going to be talking about how Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere novels have been purchased by none other than Apple TV. Now I am super excited about this. I think Apple TV is going to be the perfect spot for Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere stories. So today we're going to go over a few shows that I really love from Apple TV itself, and I'm going to be going over some of the books that I have from Brandon Sanderson, one of them being signed by him and a couple of the other ones just being really beautiful and really well made. There are a few shows that I love on Apple TV, one of them being Ted Lasso, and Brandon Sanderson himself has gone over this show in his podcast called Intentionally Blank, and he talks about how he loves it as well. And actually, that's the reason why I went to watch this show. Now, Ted Lasso itself is a completely different story from fantasy itself, but it does have some elements that Brandon Sanderson does have in the Cosmere. In the Cosmere, Brandon Sanderson focuses a lot on mental health, and that is a big theme of Ted Lasso. We also have a show like Severance that takes its time and is really beautiful. I really enjoyed the first season of Severance. I watched it multiple times before the second season came out. Once the second season hit, it's just as amazing. I didn't make it all the way through just because I thought it was a little bit too cringy. Now, it was cringy in the right ways for some people, but I just couldn't make it all the way through. And Vince Gilligan's new show, Pluribus, just came out on Apple TV as well, and this one was super amazing. I loved it. 10 out of 10. This is a sort of sci-fi story as well. It's slow, it takes its time, it builds its lore, and it's got incredible acting and writing. So I already know from these three shows that I've enjoyed what Apple TV has put out so far, so I'm super excited that the Cosmere is going to be placed with these shows. Now, just for fun, let's go over some of the books that I have from Brandon Sanderson. I don't have a lot. I really just like to follow him on YouTube, watch his things about writing, listen to the podcast and things like that. I actually got the opportunity to go to his convention a couple years ago, and I was just going around collecting pictures with people who were part of the podcast and part of the team, like they were Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck at Disneyland or something. It was a lot of fun. Now, at that convention, Brandon Sanderson was super nice, and he allowed 50% of the people who got tickets to have a book signed by him. And what he did is just had like 100 people line up in line throughout the day. They had different shifts, and he would just walk through and sign all the books. And I brought this one for him to sign. Not only that, but me and my sister also waited in line at the end of the convention to talk with him for just a couple of seconds. And we asked him a question and took a picture with him. I think it was past midnight by the time we actually got to see him. Now, one of the things that I asked Brandon Sanderson to sign was this book, but I didn't have him sign the front of the book. I actually had him sign page 190 of The Way of Kings. As you can see there, he wrote right on the text, just like I asked. And the reason that I had him sign that page specifically was because it's one of my favorite parts of the book and actually is depicted in this picture right over here. I don't want to give any spoilers, but this passage is related to Honor's Chasm and has one of the characters, Caladan, depicted standing over a cliff. Now, this painting was actually made by Steve Argyle, and he was there at the convention when I bought this piece, and he was able to sign it for me. Not only that, but I got him to sign this book, which is also by Brandon Sanderson, because Steve Argyle also created the art in this book. As you can see here, this is called the Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, and it has some amazing art in it created by Steve Argyle. And I'll just show you here that Steve Argyle signed it right there on the cover. And this book is absolutely a piece of art. Just look at the front cover right there, the sides, it's beautiful, and on the back as well. But not only that, inside the book there is art everywhere. I'll just flip to a random page here and you'll see the art that is depicted. For example, we got this little wizard guy here. I don't want to bend my book too much. I'll open here on the inside of the book here. We got these characters drawn here, and it just has this blue color all around inside of it. There's the other side as well. There you go. That's more straight. Here's some other artwork inside the book as well. And I could just go on and on about this. There's so much art in this book, and it's all super amazing. Another book that's similar to the style of that one is called Isles of the Emberdark. Now, when Brandon Sanderson first released his 4 secret novels, I didn't jump on the bandwagon to get those, but when I heard that there was another one going to be released, and after buying that one, I knew that I had to jump on this one, and I'm super glad that I did, because this book is also amazing and full of some really great art. As you can see here, Isles of the Emberdark, made by Brandon Sanderson, with the illustrations by Esther Hialandi Kandari. Now, this book doesn't have as much art as the Steve Argyle one, but it does have some interesting things. For example, the first half is just normal black and white pages, but then the second half is abnormal black and white pages, as you can see here. Seems like it would cost a lot of ink, but it's really cool. And I'll just show off one of the illustrations in the book here. Now I just have a couple more Brandon Sanderson books, one of them being Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Now this one also is made in the style of the other two, but this one was released later, so I don't have the art copy of Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, but this one does have a pretty amazing cover as well. Here's the side and the back. And of course, I also have Brandon Sanderson's latest from The Way of Kings. It is massive. I have not finished this book yet. I've gotten through like one part out of 10. So this is the 5th book in the series that is from The Way of Kings. There will be 10 of these books in total. And this will probably be one of the main storylines that will happen in the show made by Apple TV. It will be this one and probably also Mistborn. Those are the two main series that are the biggest in the Cosmere, but they can go other places as well, because if they own the Cosmere, there are other series and other books that also take place in the Cosmere. This one and Mistborn are just the main ones. So yeah, I'm super excited for the Cosmere to come onto Apple TV. Apple TV has been a great place so far for TV. I think the Cosmere is in safe hands. And let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of video where I just go over some of the physical media that I have and the stories that go with it. It would be super fun to discuss some of those if that's something you guys are interested in. Anyways, I've got a bolt.